Hi, you guys. I'm Phil Town from Rule Number One Investing, and today I want to take a minute to tell you about why the competitive advantages of a company matter so much when you invest. When you're investing in a company, it's obvious that you want it to succeed long term. When a company wins over the long term, you make money. Not only that, but it's so much easier to figure out what a business is going to be worth if you have a lot of confidence it's going to be more productive and bigger in 10 years. So you want to invest in companies that will continue to grow for decades into the future. So we don't have to do much. We, basically figure them out, buy them when they're on sale, and then that's it. We're done. Just as if you owned Walmart or something. So for a company to be predictable, it must possess a lasting competitive advantage. That's the key. It's got to have a durable advantage. Warren Buffett said it best, a company must have a durable competitive advantage that protects it from attack like a moat protects a castle. And what this means is that when you invest, we want to have a massive protection from attacking competitors who want a piece of our action. And a great huge moat, what we call this durable protective quality of a company, is that it effectively prevents them from wanting to attack you at all. They realize they can't get across the moat. And this is the reason we like moats so much. Companies with great moats permit more accurate prediction about their future. So we're looking way out there and ahead of where we're going to be in 10 years. And we go like, okay, will this company be around in 10 years? That's so fundamental. And companies with a durable competitive advantage can survive and grow much more easily than companies that have to fight off competition from some other kind of product that competes with them on price. So let's talk about what forms a moat around a company. It's really very simple, you guys. If a company looks like it's really easy to get after and compete with, there probably isn't much of a moat. On the other hand, if it looks like it'd be really hard to get into that business and be successful, you probably find some businesses with very wide moats. Now, let me give an example, okay? If we were to look at being in the railroad business, what do we have to have that's an intrinsic part of our company that protects us against competition? Well, what we have to have is railroad tracks if we're going to be in the railroad business. And if we have railroad tracks that we laid down in 1883 from, let's say, Los Angeles to Chicago, if we have those tracks and nobody else has those tracks, they got to go get those tracks. And guess what? In 2020, you can't. You can't go get the tracks. You're not going to be able to get a right-of-way from Los Angeles to Chicago. Ain't going to happen. So the businesses that have those have a huge moat. All right. Now, if a business doesn't have something like that, if they don't have something intrinsic to the company that you can't get your hands on as a competitor, then I don't want to buy that business. And we move on. That one's too hard. We don't know where it's going to be in 10 years. They just aren't potentially durable. And it's really that simple. Now, let's talk about the very small number of competitive advantages that are durable that a company can have. There's only a handful, and it's your job, basically, you take a good look at the company that you want to buy, and you identify which one or more of these really special moats that company has. Now, these are cool, and you're going to write them down because they're just a small number here. So the first one is what we call a brand moat. A brand moat means that the company makes a product that you basically think of that product type in terms of that brand. So for example, I don't think about buying a cola, and neither do you. You think about buying a Pepsi, or you think about buying a Coke, all right? I don't think about buying a motorcycle. I think about buying a Harley or a Ducati. So we're looking at companies that have replaced the generic thing, right? A generic thing with their brand. And that takes a lot. It takes a lot. First off, they've got to have something that they can repeat the success with over and over and over again. I mean, look at Coke. These guys, man, they just can produce that successful Coca-Cola can, put it on the shelf over and over and over and over again. And they've done so for over 100 years. Another company like Disney, for example, or like Apple, Disney, let's say Disney. Walt Disney built this enormous brand. And nobody else wanted to do it. Nobody else wanted to come in and make cartoons for kids. And Disney's brand, I mean, they expanded it into theme parks. Now they're expanding it in to compete with Netflix. It's enormous. And we think about the brand in terms of a loyal following of people who want that particular product. We want a Disney product. So it has a very specific thing. Think about who else makes a Disney product? Nobody. All right. Let's take a look at Apple. Apple makes a very specific ecosystem that says my Apple Watch is going to be as easily connected by just turning it on to my Mac on the desktop, to my notebook, to my iPad, to any Apple product. They just all work together because they're all in the same ecosystem. Nobody else has that. And it makes them the premium product of the whole industry. So we get to pay more for that, fine. We pay a little more for a Coke. We pay a little more for an Apple iPad, Apple iPhone. We pay a little more maybe to get our products from Los Angeles to Chicago. You know, we pay a little more, okay, because they've got this great brand or they've got some way of protecting themselves out there. So another thing great about this type of moat is that businesses with great brands, they get to keep up with inflation, which is one of the great bugaboos of investing. You don't want to buy companies that can't keep up with inflation because they get eaten alive. These guys can raise their prices because of their brand as their costs go up. So yeah, Coke has sugar prices go up in the future. They just raise their prices. Cokes were 10 cents when I was a kid. They're $1 now. Okay, Apple products, all the stuff that we pay for, we definitely pay a premium to get that product. Starbucks, the lattes there cost a little more than Joe's, coffee. Burrito bowls at Chipotle, they're a little more expensive. You can go down the road and get a cheaper burrito at Taco Bell, but you're not going to get a Chipotle burrito. You're not going to get gourmet food at Taco Bell. So even if the items cost a little more than they did yesterday, we'll pay that little price because we want that very specific thing. All right, so that's a brand moat. Second type of moat is that a company has a price moat. Now this is one of the most powerful and the most difficult moat to get and keep. This type of moat, a business can price their products so low, nobody else can compete. But here's a catch, guys. Everybody can price their products low. Any moron can put the product prices so low you can't compete, but then they go broke. The catch with a price moat is that they can put the price so cheap because their costs are so cheap. So here's some examples of price moat. Walmart, Costco, Target, CF Industries in the fertilizer business. People go and buy their hammer at Walmart because it's so much cheaper than going to a local hardware store. I'm telling you right now, it's one of my great real problems with Walmart and that whole price moat concept is that they do put small businesses out of business and they destroy small communities because they can't support those small businesses. So that would be one which would be a really good example of a price moat and a company I don't necessarily want to buy. I don't necessarily support that kind of a value. I don't like to beggar my neighbor. So I'd rather pay a little more for my hammer and have that hardware store guy be in business in my small town. Now you can go to buy toilet paper at Costco. Costco sources things in the US. Yeah, they get it cheaper because they buy huge bulk. And again, they run into the same problem, but not on the same scale because Costco puts their stores in big cities. Walmart puts their stores around little towns. It can be a big difference. So this is just an example of my values. You can have different values. I'm cool with it. But man, price moats are very powerful, very competitive if you can get them. All right, third type of competitive advantage is a company that has a secrets moat. So this is a pretty obvious moat, right? You got patents, you got trade secrets that make direct competition illegal, or trade secrets make it almost impossible to figure out. Pharmaceutical companies get their moats from patents on drugs. Intel gets its moat from experience in building chips. It's got secret. It understands how to do things in a special way. Coca-Cola even has secret formulas, right? So secrets are pretty great if you can get them and keep them, right? The problem with secrets is they don't last forever, notwithstanding Coca-Cola. All right, the fourth moat that a company can have is called a toll bridge moat. Now, a toll bridge moat from a company is often given by a government monopoly. So like a utility company is an example of a toll bridge moat. Like right now, PG&E is the utility company for California, and boy, are they in the news, right? Because the government kind of runs them and didn't give them enough money by virtue of them wanting to do certain things for the ecosystem. that they couldn't keep up with their maintenance, and now the government's trying to not own up to that problem. In any case, PG&E has a huge brand moat. If you don't get power from PG&E, I hope you got a battery or something. I hope you got a big windmill standing there by your house, because you're not going to have power. And you've seen in the news, you've seen people where PG&E was shutting off the power to that area because of potential forest fires, and you'll see these guys walking out of the stores with generators, right, to go home and try to power their house. So toll bridge moats are extremely powerful. Media company like a Google, those guys have a toll bridge moat by virtue of all of their secrets, by virtue of all of the success they've had in gathering in everybody to one place. They end up with a toll bridge moat. I mean, I basically don't want to use anything else, even though my computer keeps popping somebody else up there. I erase it and I go back to Google. If you want to advertise on Google, you got to pay a little toll. Okay, that's fair. Now, one type of moat that a company can have is a switching moat. This is one of my favorite moats in the world. A switching moat is a business that's so much locked into you, or you're locked into it, that going to a competitor just isn't worth the trouble. I mean, your dentist kind of has a switching moat, right? We still drive like an hour and a half to get to our dentist just because I don't want to find out about somebody else. So companies like ADP does bookkeeping, Microsoft, right? They provide operating systems, and they provide a lot of great products. These companies have big switching moats. I watched Steve Jobs, I worked with him a little bit, on trying to bust Microsoft's moat by producing the next computer. It took him so long to produce the computer, because of being Steve Jobs, that they didn't get it out in time. And meanwhile, Microsoft came out with Microsoft NT and was able to hold on to its market, even though Apple and Next had better products that would integrate better into a client-server environment. Didn't matter. Microsoft had the market. They had all these companies that are already locked in to Microsoft. And so it was able to make the progress of going to NT, even in spite of having companies having better stuff. And right now, IBM is doing the same thing. They kind of suck in so many ways, but 9 out of 10 big finance companies have IBM on the back end. Most big major health companies have IBM on the back end that are legacy systems. They can't get rid of them without shutting down their company for months while they replace this stuff. So they got to go to IBM and use what IBM's doing as it starts to move into the cloud. That has kept IBM in business for 100 years. So here's the thing. Once these companies implement your system on something where it's very difficult to switch, you're stuck there for life. It's a great moat. Remember, typically really good businesses that you can buy identify more than one moat at a time. For example, Coca-Cola and Apple have really good brand identity moats, and they also have other moat characteristics. They also have secret moats, right? Both of them do. Ecology moats with a switching moat is a big deal with Apple. So don't fuss over counting moats around a business. It's not super important they have more than one. The main thing is to focus on identifying a moat that is hard to cross and and a moat that's big enough that you can have confidence that you can look out a decade on this company and you can see that the company's still going to be going strong all the way out there. Now, one way to think about this is a little bit the way you think about farming. If you look at a farm operation or real estate, you look at a farm operation in the Midwest, they've got a moat because that's where you can grow corn and soybeans. You can't grow those in Alaska. So here's a moat by location. And you're going to look out 10 years and you're going to say, if I buy this farm at a discount, when the market prices are super cheap for corn and soybeans, and if I can buy the farm on sale because farming is having trouble, I can be pretty darn confident that my future productivity is going to be better than it is today. That's basically all we're looking for from that moat. If you buy a townhome or a house in a neighborhood that you understand and you believe it's going to be a better neighborhood in 20 years, got good schools, it's easy to commute, all those things that we look at, right? You buy a house in that environment. Because of the moat of location, you can be pretty confident that in 10 or 20 years, that house is going to be more valuable. That's the key to moats, you guys. You're looking at this moat and determining 10 years from now, that'll be a more valuable company because of that moat. All right, cool. So can you identify the moats of companies that you're thinking about investing in or that you already own? If you can't, that's a little scary because you're not sure where they're going to go. Now leave a comment below with your answer and I'll be sure and follow up with you. And thanks for watching. Now go play. If you enjoyed this video and you feel it was valuable in teaching you more about a durable competitive advantage, a moat, hit the like button and please share this video with your friends. And if you want more investing content, subscribe to my channel. And don't forget to click the button on the screen for a free gift. Thanks again for watching.